Hi friends and welcome to Viktors Reality. Today we have the BENQ EX2510 versus the DELL S2721HGF monitor. Both are 1080p with the IPS on the BENQ and VA panel on the DELL. And today we will cover console signal acceptance, gaming in a dark room scenario, the Blurbuster UFO test, the Blurbuster scroll test, and mouse scrolling test, so you can see the differences on the panel's speed, and a rundown with new trailers that I have set up to show off the amazing colors on both monitors. So on consoles here, on both monitors we have 1080p 60 and 120Hz on the Xbox, 1080p 60 and 120Hz on the PlayStation 5, and 1080p 144Hz on the PC. Now these resolutions are native on both monitors. For the consoles and PC, they work flawlessly, no issues. And one amazing feature here on the BENQ that the DELL cannot do is accept a 4K 60Hz signal from console gaming. You can also use this for media streaming, etc. But the main thing here is that the BENQ can accept a 4K 60Hz signal. It takes the 4K signal and displays it at 1080p, so you get the full fat 4K signal information with so much detail. It looks amazing on this 1080p monitor. This is an awesome feature to have, so even the PlayStation 5 you can have a 4K 60Hz signal on the 1080p BENQ, which we're all stuck with 1080p only on the DELL for all consoles. So this is an amazing feature to have. And just for example, let's just say you have a Fire TV stick or you have a Roku. It's better to have a 4K 60Hz native signal from Netflix, from Hulu, from whatever, being displayed even on a 1080p monitor. You get the full fat information signal that will look always clearer and better than a standard native 1080p signal. This is an awesome feature to have, and it's awesome to know that a mid-tier BENQ EX2510 monitor can do that while the DELL cannot. So that right there, the BENQ gets points because this is an awesome feature to have, and it future-proofs you to always have the better signal regardless of device that you're using. And since this is a versus video, I'm just gonna tell you what I've been noticing. I'll talk a little bit about what I've experienced on both monitors. Now on the BENQ, I have never had a problem with any signal. With a DisplayPort cable or an HDMI cable, PC, PS5, Xbox, Fire Stick, Roku, everything and anything, nothing has dropped, no black screens, no dimming, no nothing on the BENQ EX25. But on the DELL, there has been issues at 120Hz on the PlayStation 5 and on the Xbox. I'm not saying all the time, but 1 out of 10 times it does happen, so that's more or less a rough estimate. On the Xbox example, I set it to 120Hz, 1080p, just like it accepts it, but when I go in game, example Cold War, so I go into the menu and I see that the 120Hz signal is not even there, meaning it's not even grayed out saying enabled. There's nothing there. So I went and I'm like, something's wrong, something doesn't feel right. I went back into the menu and it seems that the monitor just reverted back to 1080p 60Hz, and I know I had it at 120Hz. This has happened again 1 in about every 10 times. It happened on the PlayStation 5 also. I would set it up, turn it off, play a game at 120Hz, turn off the system, come back maybe about an hour later, play some more, and it reverted back to 1080p 60. So it seems that the software on the DELL S2721HGF is reverting back to 1080p 60, even though it can do, and it does 120Hz. It just kicks me out and goes back to 60Hz. This happens rarely, again 1 in 10 times. Just thought I'd note that because it just seems to me the DELL is displaying its budget performance and its budget software compared to the BENQ EX2510. So that is on the console and software side, but both are really great monitors. Maybe it's an issue with my monitor, I don't know, but it's just something to be aware of. Now moving on to the black screen performance on both monitors, you can see right here with Resident Evil Village, the BENQ EX2510's IPS panel is above average in my opinion for the price. This BENQ to me is a mid-tier panel. I say that because I believe anything under 200 is budget. Anything between 200 and 300 in my opinion is mid-tier. I would say anything between 300 and 500 is premium, especially on a 1080p panel. So I would put this BENQ and DELL both in a mid-tier category. With the BENQ being 25 inches, there is a BENQ EX2710 that is about $50 more expensive, and it does everything the 25 does. But I got to 25 because I wanted a better pixel density, I wanted a clearer image, and I can tell you when I'm on my PC scrolling on the web, the 25-inch does look clearer than 27 at 1080p. Now that I've had other monitors 1080p, 1440p, 4K, me personally cannot go back to 27 inches at 1080p. It's either 25 inches 1080p, 27 inches 1440p, or 4K. Also with a 32 inch at 1440p is very good. Of course, it would be even better at 4K. That is my opinion with that, but you can see here the IPS panel's dark room gaming looks amazing. Now the Dell's VA does win overall and does beat the IPS, but it's not night and day difference. You can see right here, I did focus here on the Pac-Man figures, so if you see the flashlight might be a little too bright, but I want to get the panel's contrast level to the point where you can see the differences. Right there in the middle of this screen, you can see that the VA panel does win, but it's not night and day. I believe the BENQ can easily hold its own against the Dell's VA. Remember, these are both budget panels. Now the Dell's VA panel does produce more contrast. You can easily see it here on the screen, especially with Resident Evil, but it's not night and day difference. And I do say that it's a tie here, but if you are prone to that contrast difference, a VA panel will always win. But this budget VA panel, it's not like a G7's VA panel, but this budget VA is not night and day compared to like the LG versus G7 in my other video. You can see the night and day difference. This is not night and day. This is like day and afternoon. So now moving on to the Blurbuster UFO test. Pardon me that I don't have a gimbal, so I can't have a smooth scrolling, but I did try my best, and you can easily see here with the BENQ versus the Dell, there is VA smear. It's expected, especially at a mid or even budget monitor. I was expecting to see that on the VA panel, and here I'll have it in slow motion at a different distance, so you can see the BENQ's IPS panel does destroy this VA panel in terms of speed. And this is a quick scroll test just to give you an idea of how they look if you're scrolling, I would say, at a normal pace. Now with this screenshot here, I did pause it. This is the best I can get it on both. In terms of speed, when it's scrolling at different hertz, you can see 144, 72, 36, and 18. It scrolls from left to right. Right after this screenshot, you will see this video in slow motion and at a Blurbuster ready green screen, showing you that it is at its 144 hertz, because sometimes these stutter, and I didn't want to make a screenshot or a video showing it stuttering like many do. That's not the correct way to do it. You got to keep it at the green. That way the computer is in sync with the monitor and we can see the true performance of each panel instead of a messed up skip frame stutter image, which is not representative of what the monitors can do. So everything you see here is carefully tailored to show ready, to show the Blurbuster UFO test. It's on the ready signal to show true performance of the monitors, and you can see right here the IPS does destroy the VA panel in terms of speed. Now this is a screenshot. As you can see, the bottom square on both panels, the bottom square is the natural image on how it's supposed to look. The top square is moving from left to right to show you when the same image is moving how it looks. You can easily see the IPS is way faster and looks more natural and almost looks like that static image moving from left to right, while the VA panel, you can already see the smear. You can already see that it's distorted. It does not look like anything like the bottom image. Again, showing you here the differences between IPS and VA technologies. I honestly believe this would be an above average IPS panel on the BENQ versus a true mid-budget VA panel. Now here I'm going to show you guys the colors of these awesome monitors. The BENQ, in my opinion, is beautiful. It looks crisp, it looks clear. All the colors on the BENQ look better than the Dell. Now on both of these monitors, everything is at default. You can introduce more color on the BENQ with its digital vibrance, but I have this at default at 10. You can add it to 11 or 12. Anything higher than that, it starts to make the image a little bit too fake, but it's awesome to have that built in the monitor right away. It's 1-2 button clicks away to get an awesome and more colorful image than you see right here. While on the Dell, it's on standard. I have everything on default. but it's a little bit harder to extract that kind of color difference. But again, on both of these monitors, if you have it hooked up to a PC, you can select through the AMD control center or the NVIDIA control panel, you can add brightness, contrast, and digital vibrance. Not too much, don't do too much, because if you do that, it'll really produce an ugly and fake image, but you can add a little bit to help these monitors produce a nicer overall looking picture. But this video here is to show you the differences, and in my opinion, the BENQ EX2510 is overall a better buy, just from an input signal standpoint, where there is no fuss, no mess, everything just works, there is no hassle. That's a peace of mind, especially when you just want something to work. You can switch any kind of input, any kind of device, and it'll just work. While on the Dell, again, 1 in 10, you might get a mess up and you might have to fix that. And then when you see things like that, that's when you know it's a budget monitor. And I don't think anybody really wants to go through that. But that is my opinion on the signal performance on both of these monitors. And on performance, again, I do hand everything to the BENQ. The BENQ to me does beat the Dell in every single way possible. And the IPS versus VA issue with the contrast being better on the Dell, while it does look better, it's not night and day. So if that's the only thing that Dell has going for it, which is that little bit in contrast, I would easily prefer the BENQ all day, every day. This is a versus video, so this is my opinion. I wish that Dell had put more love and attention to this VA panel HGF series, because I have the Dell S2721HGF, the S3220HGF, and the Dell D2719HGF, and all those monitors work beautiful, especially the TN panel. I would prefer to play on my TN panel over this VA Dell S2721HGF. That's my opinion. I know many places around the world only sell certain monitors, and if you had to make a decision on these two monitors, I would say get the BENQ. It's overall better, and I believe you would be more happy with the BENQ. They also make a 27-inch version of it, so if you wanted a bigger size, there you go, you can always get that. It's a little bit more money, but they make it. And that inclusion of the 4K 60Hz signal acceptance is a major bonus to future-proof you for your media or console devices that the Dell cannot do. And if you found this video helpful, please leave a like, share, comment, and subscribe. Don't forget to turn on that notification bell so you never miss out on a future BENQ EX2510 or Dell S2721HGF video. I'll see you guys next time.